senseless, needless victims of crime that shouldn't be if you only had better ordinances. And so our Oversight Committee is going to be going to work next week, passing a package of bills to address a lot of those problems that DC created, to fix it so that criminals can't just walk free. If they want to go commit tough crimes, they'll have to do the time for what they do on the streets. And I think that's a good thing, that we're going to be addressing that problem even more than what President Trump's already done. You can look at what the Oversight Committee has already done over the break. While a lot of people were home, a lot of Oversight Committee members were here getting that testimony that Chairman Comer talked about from those victims of the horrors of Epstein. And we're going to continue through the rule today, have a vote to force a lot of that information to be made public, to support the subpoenas that the committee's doing, to go even further than others want to go at getting that information out to the public, including going after the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, something others have refused to do. So we're not done, but it's going to be an important vote today on the House floor to show our support there. And then, of course, we are going to continue to talk about all the things that we passed just in these first 6 months, and obviously there's a lot more we want to do. There's a lot more we're doing just this week. Some great energy production bills, energy and water appropriations bill. Appropriators are having negotiations to try to get a resolution on the proper funding of government. All of that is still going on, but it's important when you go around the country and hear stories like we heard today of people that are now starting to make more investment in America because we stabilized the tax code. We prevented a massive tax increase on families all across this nation by passing the One Big Beautiful Bill. We modernize America's air traffic control system. We secure our border. We open up more energy production. All of the things that are going to help families have more money in their pockets. You know, overtime workers with no tax on tips. That's $1,700 more in the pockets of hardworking families, and the best is yet to come. There's a lot more we're going to do, and the person leading that charge is the fellow LSU alum, and yes, we are proud of our alma mater winning its opening game. It's going to have football back, college football. Some people might not say right now they're glad to have college football back, depending on how their team did. We're proud of what's now the number 3 team in the nation, the LSU Fighting Tigers, another Fighting Tiger, and Cover Boy. If you brought your copies of Time magazine, he might actually sign a copy for you. Not every day that a Republican gets on the cover of Time magazine, but he has exhibited great leadership. He's gotten a very, very narrow House Republican majority to come together time and time again to deliver big wins for American families, and I'm glad it's being noticed nationally. It deserves to be. Our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Welcome back to everybody. We come back very excited, and not just because the LSU Tigers prevailed on Saturday, but because we're in a really good mood. You know, the House Republicans went out, fanned out across the country over the district work period, got a lot of work done, and they were talking about the One Big Beautiful Bill, which has also become known as the Working Families Tax Cut Act, because that's what it principally represents. And it was met with great reception everywhere. I'm so grateful for leaders like Tom, the Clicks, who are these small business owners that is the heart of the U.S. economy, and they make it run and they provide jobs. And we're trying to do everything we can to ensure that they have success, because the success of small business owners and hardworking families is the success of America. And that's what our principles and policies provide. And so we're so excited about that. We went out, fanned out across the country. We met with business leaders just like this, with workers, farmers, families in our districts, to discuss our legislation and how it's already making a positive impact in communities across the country. I spent the month traveling my own district and 12 other states, and we went quite literally coast to coast. Got a great reception everywhere we went. In my district, I met with farmers who will benefit from the permanent relief from that death tax, and small business owners just like this, who can now plan for the future better because of tax certainty and increases in the small business deductions. In Nashville, Tennessee, where I was, I met with tip workers who will keep more of what they earn thanks to the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. And they were overjoyed by that. And we interviewed them and got their comments on it. I was in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Visited with local manufacturer there who employs 5,200 people, one of the biggest, most impressive businesses nationwide. And thanks to this bill, they can now permanently deduct more of their critical investments in research and development on their products, and they will help their company and thereby create more jobs and help their workers. Look, whether you're a farmer, a bartender, a stay-at-home parent, a law enforcement officer, a business owner, any profession in between, the legislation that we passed is going to benefit you. It's going to benefit all Americans because, as we noted, it was written for lower and middle class earners, and they were going to feel the effects of that in very short order. We're going to continue to speak the truth to the American people, and we're really excited, I'll just note parenthetically, as we head into the midterm election, about the results that we can point to that are going to help everyone. Regarding D.C. crime, it's not just the one big beautiful bill that's helping American people. Since President Trump took control of the crime in this city, and so many of you live here and you experienced this, they took control of the D.C. Metro Police Department, and the crime in our nation's capital has fallen off a cliff. Here's some stats. Carjackings are down 85%. Some of you, I won't ask for a raise of hands, but some of y'all live in the Navy Yard. I mean, people were scared to go to their cars at night. That's not happening anymore. I was down there yesterday, and we have National Guard, loyal, faithful, brave National Guardsmen and women walking the streets in full, with their arms. Makes a big difference. Carjacking's down 85%, robbery's down 42%, violent crime down 25%. D.C. went 11 straight days without a murder. That sounds like, wow, why would you be, because that's an amazing thing around here. Nearly 1,300 criminals have been arrested and 135 illegal guns removed from the D.C. streets. D.C. residents and the residents of every big American city should be able to walk freely without fear of being mugged and violently assaulted and carjacked or shot at. I mean, this is common sense, and it's clear this action is needed. 81% of the people in this country believe crime is a major problem in large American cities. We ought to do something about it, and we're the team that will. President Trump is clearly listening. His efforts have been so effective here in D.C. that Mayor Bowser, who is a Democrat, as you know, signed an executive order just yesterday welcoming federal law enforcement in D.C. indefinitely. Okay? I hope my Democrat colleagues here will wake up and realize that crime is not a partisan issue. It can't be. Violent criminals don't know if you're a Democrat or a Republican before they put a gun to the back of your head and demand you give up your keys. We can't stand for that. And the Democrats should set aside their pride and stop defending violent criminals, which is amazingly what so many of them are doing right now, and work with the Trump administration to put the safety of the American people first. Regarding government funding, just very quickly, you've heard Leader Scalise address this. House Republicans are continuing the FY26 appropriations process in our efforts to responsibly fund the government while also cutting spending. Why? Because, my friends, we have a $37 trillion federal debt. Now, remember, we cut $1.6 trillion in the big, beautiful bill, and that was a huge leap forward because it's the largest amount of savings ever achieved by any legislative body in the history of mankind. But it's not enough. We have to continue to spend more responsibly. This week, we'll bring up the Energy and Water Appropriations Bill to the floor, and Chairman Cole is diligently working to get all 12 of the appropriations bills out of his committee. As we always are, the House Republicans are committed to keeping the government open. And unfortunately, it seems like not all the Democrats agree with that, and they're beginning to apply their government shutdown pressure. But I want you to remember one thing. All but one House Democrat voted to shut down the government in March. And we expect, sadly, that may happen again. That will be their inclination. If the government shuts down, it'll be because congressional Democrats rejected common sense solutions to fund the government and instead caved to their far left base. But I'm going to say this. I mean, look, I mean this sincerely. If Democrats are willing to work with us and think responsibly about how we can spend less than we did last year, then we are all open to that. Our nation is saddled with that debt, and we've got to figure this out. Last thing I'll note, and we'll go to questions. I just got a comment on Governor Newsom and his anti-Christian rhetoric, anti-religious rhetoric. Just one personal point here. Last week, he called me out personally a couple times, and he shamelessly mocked the victims of Annunciation Catholic School for praying after the shooting. Went online and did it in writing. I just found it reprehensible. It's really sad. In response to a video of Caroline Leavitt discussing the power of prayer amid great tragedy, the governor posted, quote, "These children were literally praying as they got shot at." I mean, why? Like, why would he do that? Why would you do that? Except that you were starving for attention. It's detestable. 2 children were murdered. More than a dozen were hospitalized, and Gavin Newsom's response was to sneer and condemn those who seek out our Creator at our darkest moments. I just thought it was evil. In fact, it's indicative of such a profound moral decay that really the only hope for Gavin is prayer, ironically, and we're told in Scripture to do that. As people of faith, we believe in the strength of prayer and intercession. It's foundational to who we are as believers, and by the way, who we are as Americans. It's woven into the fabric of our country, our deep Judeo-Christian heritage, and it's something that we represent. And as a leader of the state with the largest Christian population in America, I will keep Governor Newsom and also the people of California in my prayers, and I think you ought to be called out, and anybody who does that should be called out for it. With that, take a few questions. Yes, ma'am.
So, Melina Wimminty, thank you for answering my question. So, China's military...
Jeffrey Epstein against his estate and against 2 financial institutions, JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, that proved that they knowingly provided the financial infrastructure for a sex trafficking operation. Unfortunately, all of the documents and evidence that we have worked so hard to gather hide behind protective orders, confidentiality agreements, and bank secrecy laws. That is why this discharge petition is so important. While we have seen the documents, you haven't. And when you see the documents, you're going to be appalled. And the American people deserve to see everything. When you sign this discharge petition, it should mean nothing is off limits. That means the documents in the possession of the CIA should be made available. Those in the possession of the FBI going back decades should be made available. The SEC, financial records in the possession of FinCEN should be made available. Everybody knows that evil flourishes in the darkness. Corruption flourishes in secrecy. It is time, right now, to make a difference for the women that are behind me right now. They have been courageous and fought through this whole thing. Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, this one is an easy call. You're an American who cares about equal rights and equal protection under the law. If you care about these women, if you care about our country, and you care about this issue, this should pass with flying colors. I really appreciate everybody being here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brittany Henderson, and I think in addition to thanking the wonderful congressmen and women who are here today, we need to thank the women, and not just the women who are going to speak, but the other women who are standing behind them, along with other lawyers, Sigrid McCauley. Time for the world to give this kind of attention to an issue that it should have had forever. This administration has the opportunity to do what the past administrations did not do. This administration can either stand with the victims and stand for the victims, or it can continue to hurt the victims like has happened in the past. We aren't here just to ask for transparency, though. We're here too to ask for protection. The women here represent hundreds of other women who we have spoken to, many of whom were trafficked from other countries, from Eastern European countries where women don't have the rights that we have here. Women don't have the protections that we have here. And those women are terrified that their names will be released in these files. The government won't know that they're victims to redact and protect them. So we ask that you please, whoever is going to be in charge of redacting these files and in charge of this transparency, do it in a way that protects the women brave enough to be here, but also protects the women who are terrified that every day when they turn the TV on, something bad is going to happen to them in Ukraine, in Russia, in whatever country they live in, because no one is listening to them there. So thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and please protect these women while we seek transparency.
Good morning. My name is Anushka DeGiorgio, and I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massie and Khanna for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill... Good morning. My name is Anushka DeGiorgio, and I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massie and Khanna for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. Equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery of mine and all survivors' suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations, flight logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. But transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with the legal aid they need to confront abusers, to navigate complex systems, and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access. The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child. These are not numbers, they are people. They are your daughters, your sons, your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. The days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely. And I ask Congress to join me in that effort, not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done. When Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance to finally speak, the world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic, and so is this moment. For me, the turning point was when I had my daughter, and on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children. I have to use my voice, the voice that had been silenced by fear and shame for so many years. Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.